Yo, what it do, y'all? Welcome back to Fandom Frequency, where we dive into the entire multiverse of pop culture, if you will. We talk about it all around here. So if you're digging the vibe, make sure you jump below the video and click all the buttons and show that support for the channel. But today we're diving back into Daredevil Born Again. It's episodes 5 and 6. They did a double drop this week, so I'm not actually late. I'm right on schedule this time, and we're going to be diving into both episodes here. So make sure you leave your thoughts down below in the comments section. I always love to discuss any and all of this with you guys, whether you agree or disagree or fall somewhere in between. I always enjoy discussing this stuff with you guys. But just jumping into episode 5 to start things off. I had a really good time with episode 5 and thought it had some really cool little tie-ins to the MCU. While a little bit forced up top, it did have some nice chemistry with Yusuf Khan, who is Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel's dad, and he was obviously premiered in the Miss Marvel series and was in the Marvels. He had a little short supporting role here, a little cameo, if you will, working along Matt Murdock when Matt Murdock came to his bank. New York Mutual or whatever, and he was trying to get a loan for his company and whatnot. But unfortunately was denied, and then a whole bank heist breaks out with like these Irish mobsters that I believe are definitely working for Kingpin or someone affiliated with Kingpin in the current scene, or the guy that he's going against. Correct me if I'm wrong. Just let me know in the comments below. I did watch it last night when I got in from work, so I was pretty tired. But overall, that was the whole situation going on, and I had a really good time with the episode for the most part. It wasn't necessarily like anything that just completely blew my socks off or anything like that. Wasn't quite on that Netflix level, but this was a very good episodic type of feel for this, kind of a not a sort of a villain of the week type of vibe for this particular episode this week. And I did dig that overall and thought that for it being in this type of series, which you think it normally wouldn't fit, you can kind of see some of the creative difference of what this was coming from the original version and what we see in episode 6 and some of the other episodes we've seen up to this point. And I think the last 3 episodes we're going to see for the season are playing much more into the Netflix vibe that they're trying to capture in the more gritty tone that they were going with once they did the whole creative overhaul, stopped shooting everything, mostly shelved the other stuff, and then rewrote the scripts and went ahead and got the original side characters back and reworked some of the things to where I believe the pilot episode was originally not in the show, and episode 2 was originally the pilot. So there's a lot of different things going on there, and I believe definitely with the vibe of this episode being a lot more of a villain of the week procedural type of feel. And even with some of the White Tiger stuff, I think a lot of that was from the original kind of approach of the season being more of a courtroom drama with Matt Murdock as opposed to more of a crime thriller, neo-noir type of, feel that we got from the original Daredevil series. But now they're kind of melding the two together. And overall, while it doesn't always seamlessly fit together, I do think overall this episode is a lot more closer to that seamless feel and some of that some of the character dynamics and things kind of spilling over from the other episodes in the fact that Matt is getting closer and closer to becoming Daredevil again. And this situation also amplifies what he's going through in the other struggles and things of dealing with the grief of losing Foggy and believing that side of his vigilante life being the cause of why he lost one of the most important people in his life, and trying to work by the system and do what his fallen friend would have wanted. So that this episode does tie into some of those character themes, some of that stuff going on, and getting to see Daredevil kick a little bit of ass was also pretty fun as well. He broke the fuck out of that dude's leg, man. Bent that shit the other way. Man, he went full Mortal Kombat finish him right there, man. Didn't even pull the fatality out yet. Woo! That boy's going for it, man. He put the little red ski mask that they had on during the heist and all that, and went and beat their ass. And I love how red is a reoccurring theme of the character of Daredevil and Matt Murdock, and I love the way that they're always able to work it into the show, and only if you really have a trained eye for it or kind of pay attention to those aspects will you notice it. But for people that don't, they're not necessarily paying too much attention on it, and it's always little details like the lighting, certain colors and things that people are wearing and all that other stuff. So really, really dug that aspect, and the fact that it took place on St. Patrick's Day, playing into the Irish theme and things that they were going for in this episode, I thought were kind of interesting and brought a different color and shade into New York as well, because Irish people have a very big kind of history with the East Coast as well, and a lot of people from that nationality do stay in that part of the country. So I do think getting to see that side of things in a show set in New York is pretty cool. and everything like that. But yeah, so overall, episode 5 to me was very satisfying. Wasn't necessarily my all-time favorite of this show, but I would say that I did enjoy it more than a couple of the other episodes. And mine is maybe the first two, maybe episode 4 as well. If I'm remembering correctly, maybe episode 3. I might be mixing them up now, but those might be some of my favorite episodes overall of the season. But one of, if not my favorite episode of the season, though, is episode 6. And let me say, man, god damn, the character of Muse is a fucked up individual, and the way that they're able to implement him into this season, really get at the freaking body count that this serial killer crazy ass is up to, really getting to see the aspects of what he's doing and what and who he'll do it to. In the case of Hector Ayala's niece, you know what I'm saying, that I think is going to become the new White Tiger at some point if she does survive past this season in the condition in order to do so, because she got damn near fucked up by Muse herself, and he put that syringe in her and all that stuff, and then put that thing to like drain the blood out of her for whatever sick twisted art he was trying to do with it. And I don't know what he be doing with well, we did see what he does with with one of the bodies. So, and yeah, it's a lot of fucked up, triggering, disturbing type shit, man. But what a well done villain for Matt to go after, and to really up the stakes and bring in some personal stakes with Matt feeling like, he let her family down and wasn't able to really help. He helped Hector Ayala get off from his sentence, but then at the end of the day, still lost him to the streets and potentially lost him to a corrupt member of the system, being the one to take him out when he earned his freedom fair and square through the system, through the law. So that's the element of this season that I really think is playing strong with Matt, just feeling this push and pull from wanting to play by the rules or not play by the rules, but at the end of the day, wanting to do good and help his people and help society as a whole in the community that he's in. And I think just the violent ways of and maybe some of the more darker and more effed up ways that he's doing it as Daredevil, to me, is so interesting as a contrast to him doing it as a lawyer, and to who another side of him could be if he never really took on the persona of Daredevil at all. But the devil is in him, and he's got to let the devil out, and he definitely does that in this episode, and I love every second of it. And the way that they still build it up a little bit in this episode too, to me, was such a great payoff in order to see him go full on Daredevil, swinging through with his batons and all, and kicking some of that fucking serial killer ass in the back half of the episode, and finally saving Hector Ayala's niece there. And yeah, so such a well done episode overall, man. Like, such great choreography and stuff, and the dichotomy and the similar paths that both Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk are on right now, is really kind of regressing to who they really are as people, and to the personas and the identities that we know them as Daredevil and Kingpin respectfully. They're definitely both just kind of regressing back to the former form of themselves, and really showing their true colors and really getting into that aspect of themselves. So I think that's also such an interesting aspect of the show that I really love the most, to the fact that they're both kicking ass literally at the same time, and both going at their enemies and using violence in order to solve their problem, in order to break the rules, in order to get something going, especially in the fact that freaking Wilson Fisk is the mayor of New York now, and the fact that he is ultimately being the ultimate hypocrite by breaking the laws and things that he's in charge of kind of enforcing, in order to get these other laws enforced for people that aren't necessarily following the law. So it's this whole big hypocritical web that they're weaving together with Wilson Fisk and Matt Murdock, and I love every second of it. And I like they didn't get too much into the Vanessa Wilson Fisk stuff, just that quick scene, because that's one of the elements of the season that isn't really playing well for me. I feel like that relationship and that aspect of the show was so much stronger before in the first 3 seasons over there at Netflix, but this one right here, not really digging it as much, but at least it wasn't really a big part of this particular episode. And yeah, man. So everything going on with that. Didn't get too much of the BB on the street thing with Ben Urich's niece or whatever. Didn't get too much other elements in that regard. But I'm really, really enjoying this series overall, and I'm kind of surprised that the numbers are down for the streaming, but maybe it's just the state of where Marvel it kind of is right now. So it's all very interesting to me. I'm really curious to see where this season is going to play out. But y'all let me know what you thought about these latest 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again over there on Disney Plus right now. We are more than halfway through the series. Can't wait to see where it's going to go. I am personally enjoying it and having a good time with it. And I think it's good that I don't 100% know where it's going to go. And I like that feeling going into a series this deep. anyone that's living under a rock for whatever reason at the time of me recording and dropping this video, it's the same day as the big Marvel Doomsday cast announcement. So I'm going to make a quick video kind of breaking some of that down, what names actually interested me, whether I thought the approach that they took for stretching out a 5-hour live stream to show names on the back of director chairs for hours. I'm going to talk about if that was the best strategy or not, but also get into some of the positive and some of the cool speculation we can get into with that. So be on the look for that by tonight or potentially early the next day as of the recording of this video. But I'm going to try to get it up before I have to head into work and stuff like that. But I got some other things I got to work on outside of the channel. So we'll see what happens, but you'll be seeing that not too long after you're seeing this Daredevil review. So if you want my full-on reaction to the Avengers Doomsday cast announcement, it will be here on the channel if it isn't by the time you're watching this video. So make sure you check that out. And thank you so much for sticking around to the end, for all of you lovely people out there that do. And thank you so much for supporting the channel. We're always trying to grow the community, and we're taking it one step at a time, one video at a time. But thank you so much for joining us for this Daredevil Born Again spoiler-filled review. We're going to be back next week for episode 7. Don't you be going nowhere. Don't sleep on the dopeness going on here on the channel. And until then, much love.